Hi, welcome to this TypeScript tutorial. So today we're going to learn how to code in TypeScript and install TypeScript, Node.js, and VSCode. So a quick overview of the language. TypeScript is just a superset of JavaScript, meaning TypeScript is built on top of JavaScript. And if you don't know what JavaScript is a programming language that is used to develop web applications, such as any website you visit. So yeah, we're just going to use TypeScript, and we'll discuss some of the pros and cons of TypeScript as we go on with the video. So to start off, we want to install or download TypeScript via npm. So we'll just copy this code, and then we will open terminal. There we go. And in here, if you're on Mac or Linux, you want to type sudo first, and then paste the npm command. So then it'll prompt for the password, and once you've done that, then it will install. So great, now we have TypeScript installed. Now we want to install Node.js. So once you go to nodejs.org and you want to download the LTS, download that. It's recommended for most users as it's the most stable, and some of TypeScript does use Node.js, so you will need this. And then after, you want to download VS Code. You can use any code editor you want, but for today's video, we're going to be using VS Code. So yeah, let's get to coding. So when we open up VS Code, we should get a welcome screen, and just click open file and just create a folder with what we're going to be doing and where you want to store your code. So when you come here, type app.ts, and then come down to terminal. Usually the terminal is going to be here. You just have to swipe up. So when you come down to terminal, type tsc, and then followed by the file name, which is app.ts, followed by -w. So what this does is tsc stands for TypeScript compiler, and app.ts is our file name. This is what will be compiled, and -w stands for to watch. So whatever we do will be watched and compiled real time. So let's click enter, and there we go. We should get an app.js file. Yep, here it is. So we also want to create an index.html file, and in here just type HTML and go to HTML:5, click enter. And after, you want to add a script tag, and inside of the script tag you want to type source equals quotes app.js. So the reason we do this is because whatever we do in our TypeScript file gets compiled down to JavaScript, and we want to see in our console what is going on. So we use our HTML file as a visual. So after this, let's just get started. So pretty much a quick explanation of one of the main things in TypeScript is type annotations. So these are type annotations. Let A type number equal 10, and let B type boolean equal false. So with variable A type number, it has to equal 10, because 10 is a number, and we'll talk more about numbers later on, but 10 is a number, and it has to stay as a number unless we change the type. So if we type it as a string, that's wrong, because we specified as a number and we received a string, so it has to be a number. So 10. With boolean, has to be true or false. This is false, but we'll make it true, and it's the same. But if we add maybe a number, that's wrong. So there we go. String can be written with double quotes, and backticks. It doesn't really matter. We usually use backticks if we want to I forgot the name, but if you want to use template literals. So yeah, string literals, I forgot. But yes, it's easier to use just single quotes. And any is bad practice. We don't want to use it because then we lose the advantage TypeScript gives us. But with any, you can have a string, you can have a number, you can have a boolean, you can have almost anything. It doesn't really matter. Type E, number, and with the square brackets, that means that this is a number. That means this is an array that only takes numbers. So if we come here and add a string of like 4, if that's 5, 4, then we get an error because we said the array would only have numbers, and this has a string in it. So you can't do that. And yeah, same with any. You can have anything you want inside the array. It can be anything, doesn't really matter. But again, it's not the best practice. You don't want to do it. So let's move on to variables. So there are 3 types of variables. The first one is var, second one is let, and the third one is const. We usually want to use let and const as much as possible. There will be cases where you have to use var, and it's not very common, but it does happen. But when we use let, that means that we want to change the data later on, and we want to we just want to change the data later on. And when we use const, that means we want to keep the data the same, and we don't want to change it. So usually const is really good to use just because it prevents you from making any mistakes and accidentally changing your variables and what's stored inside of it. But very common problems in JavaScript are alleviated using let and TypeScript, because TypeScript lets you use let and const, so that's a bonus. So let's start off with the basics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this file, and I'm going to rename it as types.ts, and we'll create another app.ts file here. No, that's not app.ts. And here in our app.ts file, what we want to do is we want to create a boolean. So booleans are true and false values, simple as that. So an example is here. Let me create an example. So const new bool, and we're going to define as type boolean, and it will equal true. So this is the simplest way to define a boolean. Const, and then followed by the name, and then the type, which is boolean, and true or false. So this is the simplest way to make a boolean. So actually, what we want to do is we'll just do this real quick. If we drag the index.html file out into our browser and click F12, come to the console, we should see any outputs here, but we haven't logged anything, so there's nothing there. But yeah, anyway, so this is the simplest way to make a boolean. Let's move on to numbers. So pretty much with numbers, what we have here is a decimal, hex, binary, and octal. So these are all different types of things that are supported in TypeScript's number type. So we can have a decimal, like 6.7, that's a decimal, or a hex value, or a binary value, or an octal. And all of this was introduced in ES 2015, so you can use it most likely anywhere you need to. And now let's move on to strings. So if we create a variable called let full name type string equal, and then I'll put my name, and then we make another variable called age. So let age equal let age type number, don't forget that, type number equal 14. Then what we will use something called template strings. Now, to make a template string, what I'm going to do is I'll make a variable called sentence, and in this variable we will define it as a string, and we will write our template literal. So this is what we'll write. We'll write hello, my name is, and to put the template in, you want to do $, and then open and close curly brace, and you want to write the variable, so full name, and then you can just continue on, and I am $curly brace age, and then you can do like that, and then you can say I'll be, and you can actually do some more math in the template literal in the template. So you can do age plus 1, not age equals 1, age plus 1, years old in a few months. So there we go. This is what we call a template literal, and this is all valid code. So what we will do here is we will log the sentence. So console.log sentence. There we go. So if we save it and we go here, there we go. Hello, my name is, and then my full name comes up. Same with the age, and I will be 15 years old in a few months. There we go. Perfect. This is working code, and you will actually use this quite a bit, so it's helpful to know. And we'll move on to arrays now. So a quick disclaimer: since this is the absolute basics of the language, I will not be covering everything an array can do, because the arrays in TypeScript are extremely powerful. It's almost a video of its own. So I will save that for a video of its own. But what you can do right now is you can make an array. So let arr, which is our array, I guess, array name, type number, so only numbers will go in it, equal, and we'll have a blank array, an empty array. Because what we will do is we will push a value into the array. So what we do here is array.push, arr.push, and we will push the value 1 into the array, and we will log it. So console.log arr. There we go. Save, and come here. There we go. 1 is in the array. So perfect. This works. And just remember, this is the bare minimum of an array. There's so much you can do with arrays, like mapping or .map, .pop, and everything. So a separate video coming up on that. And next we're going to go to a tuple. tuple. And a tuple is just a stricter array, I guess you can say. So pretty much in a tuple, what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a variable let x, and our tuple is gonna have string and numbers. So string and number. So what we want to do is we want to first initialize the tuple, and then we want to create it. So x equals open curly bracket, not curly, open close brace, and then we want to write hello because it's string first, and followed by the number that we need, 10. So this is the correct way to write a tuple. It has to be in string and number format, because if you take the same thing, like this, so you cut that, paste. If you do it like this is not correct code, because hello is not assignable to type number, and number is not assignable to type string. So you cannot do that. So this is correct. If you print x, you will get the same thing, but to save time, we won't do that. And next is an enumerator. Let's call it an enum. So in languages like C#, an enumerator is a way of giving a more friendly name to a set of numeric values. So we use these pretty often, especially when we're working with data as well. So to define an enumerator, we write enum, and we give it a name. So the name I'm going to give it is role, and inside the role, I will have an admin, a read-only person, so read_only, and I will have an author. So we have these 3 roles. Now we want to make a person that has access to some of these roles. So what we will do is we'll do const person, and that equals this, and then we will have a name, and this will be my name. Then we will have an age is 14, and then we will have hobbies, which will be let's see, what will they be? Coding and cooking. Why not? I like cooking. So after, what we will do is we'll assign a role to this person. So role dot, role, and then role dot admin. So I will be the admin, and I will actually just extend this tab here. So role dot admin. So we will create, I guess, a mini loop. It's fine. We'll just make a mini loop. So if person dot role equals role dot admin, then we will console dot log is admin. So here we go, save, and we'll refresh here, is admin. If I change my role to let's see, author, you can see we won't get anything. We won't get this anymore because I'm not an admin anymore. So we use enums pretty often, just because they're really good for giving friendly names to numeric values. So to move on with functions, so what I'll do here is we'll come back to this, but we'll name this basics.ts, and we'll make another app.js. Oh, TS. Oh my goodness. App.ts. So, a function. So the reason we use functions is because functions bundles the logic of our program. Whatever we put in a function is like a little. Think of it as a worker you can give instructions to and then call whenever you need. So to declare a function or define a function, we write function, and then we give it a name. So add, and inside the parentheses we give it parameters. So for this function, we will use n1 and n2, number 1 and number 2. And here we want to return n1 and n2. We want to add them. Find the sum of n1 and n2. So we will give some values to n1 and n2. So const n1, that's n2. So const n1 type number equals 5, and const n2 type number equals 4.5. So now we want to log console.log Actually, before we do that, we will create a variable called result, and that will call the function with the two parameters. And now we want to console.log the results. Result. There we go. So if we come here, refresh, we get 9.5. Because 5 plus 4.5 is 9.5. So that is a function. So here we will make another function, which is another example, example 2. And what we will do is we'll make another function, and we will call it log, and that will take in the message parameter. And then we will inside the function we will log the message. And there we go. So once we log the message, we want to assign a string to the message. So const message equals hello YouTube. So there we go. This is our message. And then we want to log message. We want to call the function back. If you refresh it, hello YouTube. Perfect. It works. So that is pretty much what a function is. So to go back to the basics, here we'll rename this functions, and we'll go back to basics and rename that to app.ts. So here we go. So that was a function, and loops and functions go really good together. So if we do if we create a function that is called do something, I don't know, I couldn't think of a better name, do something, right? It will not take any parameters, but inside the function we will have a for loop. So for, and this is where we will use var. So for var I equals 0, and then I should be greater than 55, and let me just space this evenly. I should be greater than 55. I should be less than, what am I saying? I should be less than 55. And then we will increment I plus plus, and then we will console log I. And actually, at the end, we'll do this. Console.log. And this is another way to actually write the template literal. So if we write finally, and we will do here, plus I, plus, and we'll bring the string back. There we go. So this is what we're gonna do, and then we have to call the function back, which is do something. There we go. So what's the issue? There's an issue. Left side of comma operator is unused and has no side effects. Let's see. What does the issue? Function do something? There we go. There we go. So we got error fixed. There we go. So what happens is this increments from 0 to 50. Oh, the reason, yeah. So 0 to 54, and once it reaches 55, it says finally 55, and it is a string. So that is a loop. It's used pretty often. So there are some other types. I'm not going to show them, but there are other types, and the types are going to be void, unidentified, and null. So undefined. What am I saying? Unidentified, undefined, and null, and never. So pretty much void isn't a good idea to use, just because what void does when you assign it with a function, it just means that the function doesn't return anything, and usually a function should return something. So that is void. If you use undefined and null, that just means that there's nothing to place within a variable or a value, which means undefined and null. And a quick tip: undefined is not equal to null. Yeah, undefined is not equal to null. And if you use the value never, then pretty much it's just it doesn't really do anything as well. To be honest, it's very similar to void. So you know what? Just avoid using never. Just don't use never. And yeah, so let's move on to type assertion, also known as typecasting if you come from another language. So type assertions and /casting. So if we want, and I'll explain the advantages and disadvantages of this, but if we want to do this, create another variable called let some value, and this will be type any, and this will equal 100. And then we will create another variable called string length, and this is type number, and this equals some value as string dot length. There we go. And we will console.log the string length. There we go. So what's going on here is we created a variable which is type any and has a string of 100, and we will create a string length variable that is a number which calculates the length, and it should output 3. But when the string length variable, which is type number, will tell TypeScript that this string right here is a string, and like you don't have to double check me on that because I know for a fact it's a string. So this is actually a disadvantage because you remove the static type checking, and you don't want to do that because that's pretty much what TypeScript is really good for, is static type checking. So you don't really want to use this, but if you are going to use it, make sure you know for a fact that you will use a string. So just to see it worked. Oh, I should probably remove this, but here, I'll just comment it out real quick. Function do something. Yeah, there we go. So when you refresh this, do something's not defined. I did not comment this out. Okay, should work now. All right, we get 3 because 100 has three values in it, I guess. 1, 0, 0. That's 3. So you don't want to use this all the time. So let's move on to classes and interfaces. So we'll rename this back to basics. Wow, I cannot spell. Whatever, it's fine. So we'll name that, and then we will create another app.ts. And in the app.ts, we will talk about classes and interfaces. So, what is a class? A class is used to create and manage new objects and support inheritance. So that just means it's a mini library for anything you do. And we'll dive into an example here real quick. So, classes. To make a class, we're gonna start with class, and we're gonna give it a name. So animal. And inside of the class, we'll have a function called move, and the function will have distance in meters, which is a type number that is equal to 0. So we start at 0 meters. Now, once we're done with that, we will log console.log animal moved, and then distance in meters. So there we go. Why did it do that? I don't know why I did that. Dot. There we go. So there we go. That is how we do it. And what's the issue? Animal move. Oh my goodness. There's no. Why is it like that? Why does it have to be like that? Perfect. This is correct. So anything in here can be inherited, and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make another class dog, and now this class extends animal. So that means that whatever this class will have, will also have this. So anyways, when you go here, we'll create a new function called bark, and inside of it we will do console.log, and we will do write woof woof. So there we go. And now what we will do at the end is to show it all off. We will make a variable called dog, const dog, that equals a new dog. So dog dot bark, and dog dot move, and we'll move 10 meters, and dog dot bark again. And to show it all off, we will log it into the console.log dog. So there we go. Save it, go here, and there we go. Woof woof, animal move 10 meters. And let's see. Oh, the reason it didn't work because I didn't have the parentheses at the end. So it should say woof woof at the end. Yep, there we go. So here we go. Everything is showed here. So yeah, now we'll work on inheritance. Or not inheritance, interfaces. So to make an interface, oh, the reason you want to make an interface is because the class the class will implement a number of interfaces, okay? And it just kind of shortens things down for you. And it's very easy to use with classes because these two things go hand in hand. So to make an interface, you go interface, type interface, and you want to give it a name. So the name will be person, and inside here, if we use any variables, there will be strings. So first and last, I'm talking about names here, string. And then we want to create a new person. So const new person. Actually, it's wrongly typed. It should be lowercase n. Const new person. And then that takes the interface equals over here. And then instead of writing first and then type string equals like that, instead of writing it that way, you only have to write it this way. Without the equal sign, of course. Last, and then there we go. So what's going on here is we've made an interface that stores our types. So first here is a string. It has to be a string. As you can see, I can't pass a number in because here we define it as a string. And same with last. So we can console log who this person is. So console.log new person. There we go. We save it. You go here. We have first and last name. So this is just the very basic use of interfaces. I'm pretty sure you get the idea of it, but it's very, very helpful to use with classes as well. All right. So now the last thing we're going to talk about is union types. So let's name this classes, and we will need another app.ts file. And here we will talk about union types. So here, union types. So you don't want to use union types too much, just because it stops the static type checking. So if we here, I'll comment it. If we go here, why is it doing that? If we go here, yep, there we go. So anyways, but to make a union type, sometimes you will need it, sometimes you won't, but it's strongly discouraged that you don't use it. But to do it, you will need a type, and you will have to give it a name. So the name I'll be giving is combinable, and the combinable type is going to consist of a number or a string. So pretty much, when you use the combinable type, it's number or a string. That's it. Can't be both. Number or a string. So to use this in action, well, you make a function, and we'll call it combine. And inside we will have the parameters of I1 and I1 type number and I2, which is also type number. Or actually, why am I saying type number? We have to use the combinable. Type combinable. All right, now that we have it here, we can start off with making our function. So what we want to do is we want a variable that lets us store the result in it. So we'll make it right here, let result. And then inside we will do if, and this is a conditional statement right here. So if type of I1 equals number and type of I2 equals also a number. Oh wait, I'm missing something. If that also, yes, hold on. Also wants to equal a number, then the result will equal I1 plus I2. There we go. Oh, there should be I1 actually. I1 plus I2. Else, we will return the result of I1 to string plus I2 to string again. So basically, what this does is it will return the result as a string. Here we go, return as a string, and here we will return the result. So return result. There we go. So now what we want to do is, let's see, there's an error here. Semicolon expected. Okay. there we go. All right, so now we need to combine the ages. So let combined ages, we're just gonna test it out here. Combined ages equal, and then we'll call the function combine, and we'll pass 14 and 7. These 14 and 7 are our two parameters that we have here, which is a number, and we will console.log we'll console.log this variable right here. If we look here, 21, that's correct. 14 plus 7 equals 21. So we will create another one, const combined names that equal our function combine, and we'll have the two names. So I'll have my name, and I will have another person's name. So there we go, and we'll actually put a space here. So now this is there, and we will just log it in the console. And boom. So if we test it out here, we should get to our two names. Yep, correct. So this works, and this is just the very basics of TypeScript. So yeah, this is the full video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.